Yaps. It's in the name.
Supposedly,
The news, boys and girls, is Marathon has been delayed indefinitely.
Marathon has been delayed. I won't believe it until I actually see it posted from Bungie. An update from Marathon team. Marathon development update. So directly from the Marathon dev team. Thank you, not only for your passionate feedback around the Marathon reveal and alpha playtest, but also for your patience while we took the time to listen closely and chart our next steps. Through every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, your voice has been strong and clear. We've taken this to heart, and we know we need more time to craft Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion. After much discussion within our dev team, we've made the decision to delay September 23rd release. The alpha test created an opportunity for us to calibrate and focus the game on what will make it uniquely compelling: survival under pressure, mystery and lore around every corner, raid-like in-game challenges, and Bungie's genre-defining FPS combats. While we're using this time to empower the team to create the intense, high-stakes experience that a title like Marathon is built around, this means deepening the relationship between the developers and the game's most important voices, our players. Over the next few months, we'll continue closed testing, including participants from the alpha, to deploy gameplay updates and test new features as they come online. Some of our immediate focus areas will be upping the survival game, more challenging and engaging AI encounters, more rewarding runs with new types of loot and dynamic events, making combat more tense and strategic, doubling down on the Marathon universe, increasing visual fidelity, more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with, a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy, and adding more social experiences, a better player experience for solo and duos, prox chats so social stories can come to life.
I'm not gonna lie, even if they fix all of that, I don't think that's gonna help fix Marathon.
Hear from us again later this fall when we can share the progress we've made alongside the game's new release date. Thank you again for your patience and, much more importantly, your passion. Your continued feedback will help us make Marathon the incredible game experience we all know it could be. Okay? This is good. Look, guys, directly from people that are... We watched the video here recently, by the way, from Laura, who has actually worked with Bungie in the past, worked with Microsoft and developers, and she said it herself, that if Sony plans on keeping Bungie alive, they need to delay Marathon. The feedback was loud and clear, and the reality is the September timeline was just too damn close. The game is just not ready. Because think about this. Imagine a world where Final Shape was never delayed. Imagine had it rolled out in March or February, around the same time frame as like Witch Queen Lightfall. Would Final Shape have had hit as hard as it did? It needed that delay. Marathon, I don't know how far it's going to be delayed, but at least from, you know, the Sony corporate meeting that we listened to, they essentially said within fiscal year 2025. So that goes up until the end of, if I remember correctly, March 2026. And I think that would be a much better time frame for Bungie to release the game in March. And that will give them a little more time here to flesh these things out.
I was looking forward to Marathon, but after all the shit that's come out from it, not so much.
I know some of you just don't like Marathon. So that it is what it is. For those that are just somewhat interested in this game, or maybe you did enjoy a little bit of what you got to play during the alpha, I think leaning into the lore of Marathon's universe for just the OG players is really important.
What OG players? The 12 of them that played the OG Marathon? Like, I really don't think that. I think about having the social features, making the game more engaging, less limiting when it comes to like your stamina bar and all of that BS. Like, I think that making the game actually fun and wanting to dive into that world is the most important thing.
I personally would love to see like a social hub, but even like the other things that are like easy layups, something for more cater for solo players. You know, proxy chat is another easy one to throw in. These other things right here, like more rewarding runs with new types of loot and dynamic events. So
sounds nice.
I mean, that's cool. I also I've heard of like raid-like, they mentioned like raid-like mechanics, but we've seen very little of that, right? If anything at all. You know, the mechanics so far is just like hold his own, things like that. Nothing that I would ever put into the same realm as like raid-like. This also means that what's probably going to happen, what should happen, is instead of doing this rollout of different classes to play, and then you'll have more classes to play as time goes on, and like more maps to play, I just think Bungie should just roll it all out at once, delay it, and then just overwhelm us with the amount of content that's available in Marathon. And in my opinion, that's the best way to really quiet down the player base. It's just overwhelming them with just a ton of shit to do, a ton of things to chase, And I think that's the direction they need to go. And the other direction too is like still working out the kinks as far as like, you know, how's weapon crafting supposed to work in this? You know, even like right now, you can't even remove scopes and other
Retarded.
attachments to weapons. You know,
That is and when the game developers are like, yeah, we want you to have like a risk reward for like using the gun or trying to swap out optics, it's like my risk was getting the gun and taking it out. My reward should be able to do whatever I want with it. That's it. The fact that like switching hands wears down the durability of the gun, retarded.
I would say, like, in comparison to other extraction shooters, Marathon is
The
quite
weakest
frankly,
one.
pretty bare bone. I feel like
The
Bungie kind
weakest.
of has made this mistake in the past before. You saw it with Destiny 2 Vanilla. They tried to, their thought process was, let's make this a super approachable game for everyone. And by doing so, we're going to give people static roles, double primary system, and
Yuck.
a subclass menu that's very easy to understand, that has, you know, these defined trees. What that did was remove all customization. It also removed just any desire to play the game.
Yep.
Everything just felt very watered down.
Yep.
I think Marathon is almost, I would equate it to a Destiny 2 Vanilla. Minus the story. Maybe even, I would say even worse than that, because you don't even have like a real story. Internally, we know things are happening because the narrative director has now been moved to creative director, and hopefully that's going to mean something here. But I would like to see Marathon really
I would
pop.
still like
I
to
think
see
it could
game-
pop, but it needs this delay. So
I'm sorry, and I know I haven't seen this from anybody who's covered the Marathon thing. Joe Ziegler needs to get out of the way. He is trying to make this game like Valorant. He came in, got rid of the customization, brought in the heroes just like Valorant, slowed down the movement, slowed down everything. Literally tried to make it like Valorant. Is Valorant an amazing game? Absolutely. But it is not an extraction shooter based on of Bungie's track record of gunplay. And I think bringing in a Valorant guy to lead this was a terrible, terrible mistake.
Paul Tasser,
And I like Joe. But he is fumbling the bag hard. When people say we need prox chat, the answer needs to be, you're right, absolutely. When people are bitching about like, hey, when the risk of me taking the gun out and the reward is having it in my box and now I can't do, you know, change attachments on it because you feel like that's, you know, there's not enough punishment. Who are you to punish me as the player? I'm playing your game. Why would I ever want to feel punished? For that, those two things, and here's strike three. Strike three, you're the game director, and you allow plagiarism. You have allowed all of this crap underneath you. You are out.
right here, most of Bungie's
New
found out
person
about Marathon
in.
delay right now. I don't know. I guess Paul may have been talking to some people internally. Probably not the way they want to hear it, but I'm curious to know what led up to this announcement to be made today of all days. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to see it fail. I don't think everyone wants to see Marathon fail. But like we
No,
talked about here recently,
we wanna see games
we
win.
made the comparison to Digital Extreme and even CD Projekt Red. The thing is like, if you want your community to rally behind you for your next upcoming project,
You have to give
gotta
us a
make
reason.
good with the current project at hand. And a lot of people don't feel that way with Destiny. We see with like Warframe and Soulframe, at least my understanding, at least my observation, there's really been no major blowback toward Digital Extremes about the making of Soulframe. They also have just a kind of a different environment. You know, when the CEO himself is like being present in both streams constantly, and there's just tons of FaceTime happening with the community, and just, you know, Rebecca and the way she runs things, like it's really hard to find ammunition against DE. Whereas right now, Bungie, it feels like to us as players, has just been consumed in the corporate world. And most would argue that and say that happened a long time ago. But that's what people feel. They don't feel that authentic connection.
And years ago, that corporation didn't stop giving a crap, like COVID times. They stopped giving a crap about their community. And now it's just time for the community to wake up and be like, oh my God, they actually don't care about us.
Connection with the developer that we may feel with other devs and other studios. But that's gamers' problems. Games are not for everyone. We need to stop acting like game is for Destiny 2 gamers and they slander it like they're special. Well, I tell you what, it wouldn't hurt for Bungie to include a PvE mode inside a Marathon. It wouldn't hurt to have a story or a narrative, maybe even a couple, some missions. It wouldn't hurt to have a social hub. These things wouldn't hurt. You know, sometimes
I feel like social hubs are such an easy layup, especially when you have microtransactions. I'm running around, you know, the tower, and I see somebody fitted and kitted out. I'm gonna want to go to the Everstore verse and pick that up. But if I never see any of that, then I'm not gonna have nearly as much of an incentive to try to like swag out. You know what I mean?
You got to understand, it's like when developers are sitting there cooking and they throw things in there that may not even have like immediate return on investment, but they throw it in there anyways. So almost like a, you know, in some ways like a love letter to their communities. That shit is remembered. Our concern with Bungie has been, you know, everything is what's the return on this? Just like PvP maps. You've heard PvP maps are expensive. There's no real return on it. But yet here recently we covered why so many people have quit Destiny over the years. Many of them are PvP players that feel ignored. Cross this one.
Literally me.
It's Marathon to be Destiny. So for me, guys, there's so many great games out there that it really doesn't matter to me what Marathon is. To be quite frank with you, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Arc Raiders if I want to get my extraction shooter fix. And I'm good. I've got other extractions that we play from time to time. And speaking of which, extraction shooters aren't even my first go-to type of game. So
Delta Force is probably the best one out. Tarkov next, and then Arc Raiders may come in and just take over the whole industry.
Folks that play extraction shooters on a regular basis, so I'll see how we'll see how they feel. And then on the other side of things, it's like my little shooter fix is, you know, Destiny, Warframe. But then we have the Cube coming out at some point, and we'll be hitting up some of those playtests as well.
Dude, I cannot wait for the Cube.
The point is, it's like there's a lot of competition all around, and I do believe that Marathon could be a good game, though. I truly believe Marathon could be a good game, but it's got to cook, and I think that
it's an uphill battle for sure.
Next year, perhaps around that time frame, would be better for them. I think Bungie, the big focus needs to be accumulating goodwill within the Destiny community and find a way.
What can they do in 9 months?
That with Marathon. You know, many of the people that are playing Soulframe
March
right now
2026 is only 9 months away.
You don't have to have this major separation of your communities. There's lots of overlap there.
Yeah.
None of this matters. The game is dead on arrival. I don't believe that Marathon is dead on arrival either. I do believe had it rolled out in September, Marathon is dead on arrival.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I do believe that. But if they make the adjustments, maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but I think if they have enough of a delay from now until next March or even February, like Les has brought up, they can implement these things. Marathon could be good. Here's my suggestion for Bungie. The next time we publicly see Marathon again, it needs to be visibly different. Like it needs to be a noticeable difference.
It needs to be a whole new game.
The next time everyone sees Marathon, people need to go, oh shit,
that's Marathon? I can't even recognize it. That's what people need to be saying. And if that's what you're saying, Cross, I'm picking up what you're putting down, bro.
It's an upgrade. It needs to have a major jump across the board, and it needs to continue that through every system. You guys need to see Marathon. Like the next time Marathon is showed, you need to walk away going, initially being like, what game even is this? The next time they show the game off, it's got to be like
what I was saying.
Showed Prismatic, Dread, etc. Yes, dude, yes. Y'all remember like so many people were like, everyone was just like, Final Shape is gonna flop. It ain't gonna be good. And look, I even said it myself. It's like, there ain't no way we're gonna get another Darkness subclass. Now they went beyond that. They gave us Prismatic. But the point is, y'all remember that Vidoc, when they hit that reveal, we were like, holy shit. There was just so much happening. And it needs to be like that for Marathon. It needs to be the polar opposite of their most recent reveal that they did. And the next time Bungie comes out,
that was a bad reveal.
And look, I'm not hating on anybody at Bungie right here, but I would like to know more than just who your favorite runner is. We're nerds. We want details. In my opinion, it does.
And it does not matter who your favorite runner is. It really does not.
It doesn't need to be live. Doing things live is much more difficult. It may go well with the culture and everything, and I know like Twitch, y'all want to do things live. Roll into this thing Vidoc style. Be bringing so much information that it's almost information overload. Give me 30 minutes of literally everything you're bringing with Marathon and make it jam-packed of all the changes and shit that you're adding.
And don't say, oh, and what about the aliens coming around the corner? Oh, that's a secret. They're just going to have to wait and find out. You have lost any good grace to hold any secrets. You need to give us everything so that the imagination in our head makes us go so crazy that we have to get in the game and figure it out for ourselves.
People just, it's one thing after another. Please, Bungie, take a page out of GGG's book and go about it this way. And in my opinion, whether it's Joe Ziegler or whoever, it needs to be someone in front of the camera that knows the game better than anyone else. And they just need to be spitting. Everything they're saying just needs to be one bullet point after another bullet point after another bullet point of just information overload. In this process, you'll be
Agreed.
showing off gameplay.
Agreed.
And the gameplay needs to be like everything top down needs to look different than what we have seen in the alpha. And I will say, I believe
Some
that
of
can
it was
happen.
good.
If anyone here has play tested Dark Raiders over the years, that game has come a long way, guys. A long way. So it could happen here. But the delivery is going to have to be very important.
Slap that like button like your mama told.
No, the delivery doesn't have to be very important. The delivery on Marathon is absolutely everything. If that game does not come out and it is drastically night and day a different game, it has to be a different game. If it's anything remotely close to, you know, art raiders where they're just stealing people's art and plastering it on everything, like the game is DOA, it's dead on arrival. But what's not dead on arrival is you guys and everyone in here watching me live. I genuinely appreciate you guys. And you know what? Maybe we saw a clip or a meme earlier where someone was broke and they're like, that's why we're streaming again. Man, that is hitting me in the soft spot right now because I don't have a job. So I had all the time in the world. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow I have an update on said job. That's it. I'll get you guys then. Peace.